Okay, so this is video 3 of the 3.1 series. This one is going to be on the law of exponents. So this is using our properties of exponents table that we've already been using. So let's start with the first one. So the first one, so I'm going to look at my property table, but I'm also going to separate. Remember how we want a little island? So I'm going to separate out from the 3. And I have to look at my table. So I'm going to look through all the 8 different properties they give us. And I noticed that, and I have to also consider that there's also multiplication in between these. So if I have multiplication, what do we always get? Well, this means in the exponents, we're going to add them together. So what property is that? That's number 1. And that's a to the r times a to the s equals a r plus s. So now what's going to happen is, since the z is the same, I'm just going to write it like this. So it's going to be 3 over 5 plus 7 over 5. And since it's the same denominator, I can also write it like this. So 3 plus 7 over 5. Well, 3 plus 7 is 10. Divided by 5 is 2. So we're left with z to the second. What about that 3? Well, the 3 is just going to be added in front, and that's how we solve this one. So all we're doing, we used the property number 1 to add our exponents together because there was multiplication. Now let's do another one. So negative 2y to the 4 over 5 squared. Well, we've actually already used this one as well. We've used number 3 before. So that's AR in the previous videos. S is ARS. So that means my exponent here and my exponent here is going to want to multiply by each other. But I have to also make sure, because it's all in parentheses, I have to make sure that this exponent here is incorporated into this here. So what I want to do is, like we've always done, is we separate this guy out. And I'm going to make the other guy, this guy, separate as well. So I'm going to let's make this one here. So it's going to be negative 2. But remember that negative 2 is squared as well, because you have the whole parentheses squared. And then the other one is y to the 4 over 5 squared. So that means for this guy, we're multiplying it. So what in my calculator, 4 over 5 times 2 gives me 8 over 5. So y equals 8 over 5. And then what is negative 2 squared? Well, a negative times a negative gives me a positive result. So this will become 4, right? So then it'll be 4y to the 8 over 5. And that's how we get this one. And then let's do another problem. So we use number 3. Let's see what the next one will be. So x to the 2 over 3 over 4x. So what do we use here? So I know already off the top of my head, if we have a fraction, that means I'm going to do the opposite of what we did for the first one. I have multiplication in the first one, we add. So we have division, we subtract. So I want to separate out again. So I'm going to picture, if there's no number in front of the x here, this is a 1. So picture it as a 1. And then next to this x here, I'm going to picture it as a 1 as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to separate the 1/4 on its own little island. And then I would separate this guy on its own little island. So it means I have 1/4 here. And then I'm gonna have the other guys on the other side. So since we have the same x variable again, it's just gonna be x. And then we're gonna do 2/3, because we're subtracting, remember? 2/3 minus 1. So what's 2/3 minus 1? Well, that's negative 1/3. But since it's negative, that means I have to write it in fraction form. So let's not worry about the 1/4 yet. I just have to know this is going to be written as 1/x to the 1/3, right? This guy. But then where does the 1/4 go? Well, the 1 is already on the top. This 4 is just going to want to go here. And that's how we do that. And then let's go to do one more. This one's going to be a little bit more challenging than the last one. Okay, well, when you see this, you're probably like, whoa, what's going on? Well, this guy here is not an exponent, so I'm not going to worry about that. This is an exponent, and this is an exponent. So what I want to do is I'm just going to rewrite the 2/3 x here, because that's just being carried over. Nothing's going to happen to that. And since the x variable, since these two, x and x are the same, we can just write x once. But what happens with the exponents? Well, if we have parentheses, that means we're multiplying. So if I were to distribute, right, distributing n, that means I have to be multiplying the exponents. So that means what's going to happen is if we have multiplication, going back to the first property, we're going to add. So that means it's going to be 2/3, negative 2/5 plus 2. So negative 2/5 plus 2 gives me 8/5. So it's going to be written as 2/3x to the 8/5. So the reason why, again, the 2/3 just stayed there is because it wasn't an exponent. It was in front of the x. It's just a number. If it was like, let's say it was 2 instead of 2/3, it would just be 2x to the 8/5. So this is the law of exponents using our properties in our textbook.